Hey, good morning, guys and gals. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and we're starting off the festivities. I hope things are well, and I hope you're all having a great cheeky Monday. So today we're going to be making a meringue roulade. So we're going to obviously make the meringue. We're going to also have some mixed berries in there. I'm going to do some cherry puree, some chopped mixed nuts, and a little touch of white chocolate to finish it off. So we're going to fill it with cream, put some berries in there, and we're going to roll up that meringue really nicely. So we had some leftover egg whites from last week, so I thought let's use them up. Let's do some kind of meringue desserts or dishes. So that's what we're going to do today. I hope everyone's doing well, and hope everyone's doing fantastic. I think I'm going to use my machine for today because we're going to need about 150 grams of egg whites, a little touch of lemon juice, touch of salt, and then we're going to whip it, and then I need about 280 grams of sugar. So with the sugar, we want to add little by little, really important to make it nice and stiff and shiny. Once that's done, we're going to lay it out flat on the tray, and then we're going to pretty much bake it out. Okay, so let's have a look where we're at now. 150 grams. 150 grams of egg whites. 140. 150. Okay, perfect. So set these aside. So there's my egg whites, and we want about 280 grams of sugar, right? Yes, perfect. So 280 grams. That's good to go. Got the egg whites. I need a little touch of lemon juice. Let's grab the lemon out. So I'm talking about like a very small teaspoon. So got an old lemon here, but there's still enough lemon juice in here so we can get like a teaspoon out of it. So just taking the pips out so we haven't got any pips flying anywhere, but just in case. What we're going to do, pop our egg whites in. So what we're going to do is turn this on. I'm sure we're all plugged in right now. So we're going to turn this on. Start whipping it up. Also, I want a pinch of salt, and also the lemon juice needs to go in now. So if you're using Malden sea salt, what you want to do is just crush it up in your hands very nicely. So I ain't got too much of that flakiness in there. Chuck it straight in. There you go. Don't need a lot. Catch the pips as well, because you don't want them. That's starting to froth up really nicely, so we're going to start bringing up the speed just a touch. I'm going to start adding the sugar. About a tablespoon to begin with. Just add in the sugar little by little. Not going too crazy. Now, if you dump this all in at once, what's going to happen is pretty much it won't dissolve into the egg whites. So you're going to end up with a right mess. It just won't come out correctly. So adding it little by little, it will incorporate it into the egg whites correctly. So that's starting to form together nicely, as you can see. Not going shiny just yet, but it's still whipping away. It's still got quite a bit of whipping to do. So that's pretty much whipped up really nicely now. Just give it 30 seconds and we should be good. Beautiful. Looking good. So just going to take that off. We're going to scrape that all into the onto the tray. So it's pretty much going to cook all the way through, but it's going to be nice and soft in the middle. So when we come to roll it, it should be nice and easy to roll it. It will crack a little bit, obviously, bearing in mind you're not going to have like no cracks in a roulade, meringue roulade, sorry. So I mean, you could even like use a bit of gel color in this if you wanted to. So if you want a certain kind of color to this, you can. But all honesty, we're going to go with the Snow White, and I'm not talking about Disney film either. Right. So now if I've got a bit extra, I mean, I don't want it too thick, but I want it like, you know, a good centimeter and a good centimeter and a half thickness. So alrighty, so what we're going to do is just very nicely spread this out. Perfect. Okay, so that's good to go. I'm going to pop this in. It's going to be about 15 to 20 minutes. Keep an eye on it just until a nice golden color on the top, and it should be good to go. So let me pop this in the oven now. So open these bad boys up. Cut them in half. Just make sure they're okay. And I'll probably use some of the halves as well for a little bit of garnish on the inside, but the rest is going to go for a nice little puree. So I'm just going to take some of these. Don't want to go too many. Just cutting them in half, making sure all the pits are out. Nothing too crazy. The rest of the cherries are going to go into the pan for a puree. It doesn't look a lot for a puree, so I've actually got some mixed berries as well. So maybe we'll do a mixed berry and cherry puree. So that'll do. So just a little bit of mixed berries, cherries. So we're going to make a nice little puree out of it. We're going to cook it down. Just a little touch of sugar, obviously. If you don't add any sugar, it's going to be quite tart or quite sharp on the mouth. So we're not going to go too bonkers with the sugar, though. So I'd say about roughly 100 grams to begin with. If we need to add a little touch more later on, we can do so. We're just going to put this onto a medium heat. Not going too crazy. Perfect. So I'm going to let that cook down, and if you say, Chef, don't you need to add any water? Actually, no. And you think, isn't it going to burn? It's not actually going to burn. Because what's going to happen is the moisture from the berries is just basically going to come out of the berries, and it's going to stop it from burning, and it'll be quite a lot of liquid in there. So you don't actually need to add any more kind of liquid that's already in there from the frozen berries. So let me cut these cherries into quarters, because these are quite large. So there we go. And if you don't like cherries, you can always put something else into the roulade as well. So you can put other fruit. Maybe you want to put up some chopped up apricots or chopped up peaches mixed through the cream itself. So, you know, you can play around with the flavors as much as you want. We're going to chop up some nuts as well to garnish on the top for later. So we're gonna do that as well. We got some pecans there, some flaked almonds as well. So we're going to chop a few of those up, and some walnuts. So we're going to chop these up very nicely. And I mean, you could just pop this in the blender if you want to. I don't want them to be like too finely chopped. I just want them kind of roughly chopped, so you can still got the nice little bits on there. So you can still kind of pretty much recognize what we got. So, but if you want them a little bit more finer, I suppose even you could put them in the blender for like 2 seconds, just blend it quick, and it should come out very nicely. But I'm not going to go too crazy with it, with the chopping. So there's our pecans, so they're going in there now. So now for the walnuts. Perfect. So now the almonds. So what we're going to do is just give them a nice little mix up. So we've got some nice little mixed nuts there, ready to rock and roll to go on the top for garnish. Look at that, fantastic. So very, very nice to show you guys. So you can see there, it has come over the top a little bit, but it's still kind of nice and spongy. So what I'm going to do, before I do anything else, let me carry on with the subs in a second. I'm going to put some parchment paper over the top. And what's that going to do is pretty much keep the heat on the inside. So hopefully it won't crack as much, but we will have some cracking with the meringue, so when you come to roll it. So I'm just going to leave that just to kind of cool, let it set. So let it do its magic, let it do its thing. So I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to put it over behind me. Let's grab a mixing bowl. We're going to grab, what, roughly 500 ml, I think. Is that going to be enough? Yeah, I think so. 500 ml of cream, of heavy cream, or whipping cream, or heavy whipping cream. And then about 75 grams of sugar. Have a little taste as well after. If it's not quite sweet enough for your liking, you can always add more. But if you add too much in there, you can't take it out. So don't go too crazy with it. But we're just going to add a little bit of vanilla. Just a little cheeky touch. There we go. So about a teaspoon. And then about 75 grams of the powdered sugar, or icing sugar, shall I call it. Just in case. I'm going to go for like just a little pinch, maybe a quarter of a teaspoon if that, but maybe an eighth of a teaspoon of ground clove. Not much at all. We want about a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then literally a pinch of nutmeg. You don't really want a lot in here. Like so. There you go. Right, so we're going to whip this up. We could do this in the machine, but, you know, let's do a little bit of arm work today. Right, so this is almost whipped up nicely. I want to make sure this is nicely whipped, because if it's not, what's going to happen? If you don't whip it to peak, basically when you come to roll it, it's not going to hold inside. And then second of all, it's just going to spurt out later on, out the sides. It's going to be a right mess, so, you know, you want to make sure this is really nicely peaked. But also at the same time, just carefully don't over whip it. What I'm going to do, right, is going to flip this over. And in addition, we're also making a cherry puree, or mixed berry and cherry puree. And then we're also going to be making just a few little berries to finish on top with some nuts and some white chocolate. Chef, is this such a good idea? It's always a good idea. Right, so that's good. I'm pretty confident it's not going to do anything else. So let's carefully take this off. That! There we go, magic. Right, so let's pop this in here. Blend this up. So, make a nice little puree. Okay, so this shouldn't be that loud. I'm guessing it won't be, so... but just turn your headsets down, just in case. But you should be fine. Let's pass this into a little mixing bowl. Right, so I'm going to push this through. And all we're going to be left with is pretty much the seeds from the berries. Obviously not the cherries, but I put some raspberries, blueberries, strawberries in there as well, so that's why we got the seeds, or the pips, shall we say. Beautiful, smooth cherry mixed berry puree. Good to go. Now you don't want to go too thick with it, so I'm going to start with that. And if I've got a little bit left, I'll put it in a piping bag and we can do some nice little garnishes on there. Right, so I'm just going to drain these off a little bit, these cherries. They're a little bit watery, so, but that's fine. I just don't want this going into the mix. I want some to go on top as well. But, you know, bit of nuts in here. What we're going to do is start rolling this bad boy now. So I'm grabbing the piece of parchment. I'm just kind of pretty much pulling it, rolling it, and pushing it down, if that makes sense. So I'm just pushing it up and then just pushing it down. So you're pretty much making a nice little circle for your roulade. It's nice and delicate though. I have to be super careful with this. Right, so that beautiful roulade. It's looking very cheeky indeed. It's very delicate though. I feel like probably we could have cooked it a little touch longer because the middle's very kind of soft, but that's fine. It's not actually an issue at all, but it's just hard to kind of move a little bit, so there we go. So let me move this along and just pop the bag into something, so then you can just pop it straight in. Makes your hands more freely to not make less mess, right? Oh wait, that didn't make sense. To make less mess. There we go. Because I want to use some for the plating as well, so That's okay. Pop a few of those cheeky nuts over the top. Didn't I want white chocolate as well, right? So let me just melt some white chocolate very quickly, actually. Just a little bit of chocolate on the top. There is our beautiful, delightful meringue roll. Let me just shove it this side. There we go. You guys and gals can see a little bit better now. So, I haven't finished yet because I'm going to plate a little bit more up. But that's the initial roulade itself, meringue roulade, festive meringue roulade. With the cream, white chocolate, the mixed berry and cherry puree, and obviously the meringue we made. It's pretty much it, and obviously the mixed nuts, walnuts, pecans, and almonds. Right, let's try this one again. It's very tender though, super tender, but also beautiful. Few little cheeky nuts, right, as well. Right, so just a little. I'm just flinging this around. Make sure that's in nicely. Perfect. Alrighty, so there it is. Our beautiful berry roulade. Berry roulade? Meringue roulade, sorry. With mixed berries, cherries. So very straightforward. You say straightforward, chef. So basically, made with... why did I turn it back around and let you guys see it? So made with mixed berries and cherry puree. We also made the cream to fill the meringue. So we did a spiced cream with cinnamon, nutmeg, and ground clove, and a little bit of vanilla, and whipped up very nicely. The meringue itself was made with 5 egg whites, which is about 150 grams, teaspoon of lemon juice, and a pinch of salt, whipped up until it starts going frothy. Add in about 280 grams of white sugar, little by little, so granulated sugar, sorry, until it smooths up into a nice peak and it's nice and shiny. We laid that out on the tray in the oven. I did mine on 310, 320, which is roughly about 160 Celsius. But if you haven't got a fan assist, I'd do 180 Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit. Cook for about 15 to 20 minutes till just golden on top, and then taken out, parchment on top, flipped it over once it cooled. Cream in the middle once it's cold. A bit of the puree, a bit of the nuts, some of the cherries as well. Rolled it nice and tight with the parchment paper, and then obviously with the plate, and finished it off on the top with the nuts, so pecans, walnuts, and flaked almonds, a bit of white chocolate as well, and then finished off with a few little cheeky berries as well. So fantastic. So have a great rest of your Monday. Did I say Wednesday? I felt like I did. Have a great rest of your Monday. I'll be back tomorrow with the delicious fish dish, smoked fish, creme fraiche, crumpets, pickles, all the delightfulness for a festive, cheeky starter. But enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Much love. Thank you for all the love and support, and I'll see you tomorrow. Much loves. Bye for now, amigos.